Alright, y'all, Smoke Kid, what's good? Alright, so I've been playing Final Fantasy 16 a few times and post a couple vids on this channel. So, and I posted Final Fantasy 7 remake, I believe, on this channel as well. Earlier, I think it was on this channel. And I also play Final Fantasy 14 online as well. And then I had me thinking about Final Fantasy 10. As you can see, Final Fantasy 14, my avatar is wearing Tidus's Abe outfit. You know, eventually I turned into a different color where I put it. First I had it like all red, was partly black. And now it's like black for the most part, was partly red. And Final Fantasy X was a fun game. I believe that was the first. I think it is the first Final Fantasy game I've ever played. And I played it multiple times since then. I played it many times from the beginning to wherever I usually ended up, because I never truly beat the game. I did see the ending of the game, right, with Tidus disappearing, because he was the catalyst of bringing peace to Spira, as in like ending sin once and for all and all that. So yeah, I already know what's up with the game, but I never truly beat it. The farthest I ever gone multiple times was up to Jet. By the time I reached to Jet, I always struggled beating him. Unfortunately, I would like to beat the game firsthand, but yeah, it is what it is. I guess I have to go look. I guess the best case is for me to look for those secret what's it called, them celestial weapons for each character, or at least maybe 3 for the character. I think Waka the easiest. You have to play like 20 or 25 seasons to get his celestial weapon. And then I know Tidus, you have to dodge like 100 times, I think it was. Maybe less, but it probably is 100 times. Dodge the lightning strike at that I forgot what that place is called, but and it's easier said than done. Like dodging 100 times. God bless for those that survived that, bro. And I bet those some people that have done the dodging lightning thing, they probably say, "Oh, it was easy." Like, bro, get out of here, bro. That flash, you blink, it's GG's. You gotta start over, like, yo. And you can't just mash X neither. You gotta. It has to be precise timing, bro. Like parry stuff, bro. And then for the others, I can't remember how you get the celestial weapon, but I think that's the. Well, I mean, obviously that's the best bet to beat Jet. Maybe there's another way. I think I could get Anima at that point, but I never got an Anima with Yuna. I don't think I have. But yeah. So instead of playing Final Fantasy X for like the 100th time and posting on the channel for like the 20th time, I think I'm gonna watch this Final Fantasy X review by projared. I seen a few videos from this dude. As you can see, he have played multiple. He's a Final Fantasy game guy. You can see Final Fantasy 11 review. I watched this video. It was interesting. Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy 7. As you see, this was years ago. This video in particular, this was 3 years ago. Out of those 3 that I've mentioned, 2. Final Fantasy 12 is the most recent, 2 years ago. I don't think he have a Final Fantasy 7 remake review. That'd be a cool thing to see. I would like to see his take on it. He brings some good points. I've been a while since I've seen this video, the Final Fantasy 7 review, but yeah, I could go rewatch it and then show y'all my reaction to what you have to say and stuff.
You by Liquid IV. If there's one thing we all need to be better about, it's staying hydrated.
Get your money, bro. I don't care.
More bunch of believe yourself to experience. You will get almost exactly 1 year after Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy X was released on the all-new, impressive PlayStation 2.
1 year,
what followed
wow.
was tremendous success, increased fandom, and mainstream exposure far beyond what Square could ever hope for. Even though the main character is wearing 1/3 of pants and overalls. From here on out,
He wasn't wearing no
Fantasy
overalls.
games get weird. Each one is drastically different than the one previously.
He got a
Hironobu
sling, but ain't no
Sakaguchi
overall.
is no longer at the helm. The soundtracks are no longer solely composed by Nobuo Uematsu. Despite all that, Final Fantasy X was such a big deal when it came out. It quickly became one of the fastest selling PlayStation 2 titles despite the low install base. It was so popular that people were going around giving each other that Yevon hand gesture greeting. That is a true story. It happened to me. All right, thank you for shopping here. Would you like our 10% discount card and magazine subscription? Oh, no, thank you. Have a nice day. That happened to me while I was working at GameStop.
No. I hope this was a kid, bro. I hope to God that was a kid that did that. His face is killing me, bro. But I hope to God I was a kid that did that, bro. I hope it was an adult. Guys, that's insane, bro. I don't know what his reaction was. It's probably like a serious face, like, oh man, this guy's killing it. But nah, real talk though. Now I didn't experience this in real time, like when the game came out. This was like what? I think like 2002 around there. So I was like 5 years old. I was still on Nintendo 64. But not that game, bro, was revolutionary for what it was. I mean, cause like he said, Final Fantasy 9 was a year earlier. Then you're gonna drop this gem that nobody thinks is gonna be a gem, probably gonna hope it's a gem by the commercial. I gotta see the commercial and the trailer for Final Fantasy X because I never seen it. But you talking about from a 2D 3D form? It was a 2D 3D format, right? It's like not pixelated, but it's like blocks, right? And then you move on to Final Fantasy X when it's just like all 3D, like no pixelation, no blocks for arms or whatever the case. Like you talking about 3D model for real. Like that was the high def at the time. Like it was just crazy. And the way how that game was going, bro, with the amount of cutscenes that they had, because basically it was like a movie, bro, like an interactive movie, right? That's how you could see it as. Like they were showing the hell off, bro, on that game, Final Fantasy X, bro. No cap. Just like Final Fantasy 16 when they got released, bro, a few years ago. Like yo, when that game came out, because that was the first Final Fantasy for the PS5. I don't remember when the 15 came out, but obviously that was a PS4 game. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, it's the first game for the next gen, right? So the way how Final Fantasy 16 was moving, they were doing the same thing what they did with 10 when they introduced it to the new console in the PS2. They were just showing off the graphic like crazy, bro, with just cutscenes after cutscenes and after cutscene, alongside with impressive gameplay. Now with 10, it was turn-based, whereas 16 it was real action. But there was quite similarity between the two when they introduced it to the new console, bro. And to be honest, if Final Fantasy X was real action, bro, woof, bruh, it would have been crazy. There's certain character that you was like, how is that gonna work? Like I say, like Seymour or Yuna, right, wearing the long clothing with the skirt or that long ass shirt that Seymour be wearing, whatever. How are they gonna do? I mean, obviously they're gonna replace certain elements of that, right, to make it enjoyable and stuff. But nah, it would have gone crazy though, because because 9, 8, and 7, it was turn based, but like I don't know what you call it, but you have to be on the fly because it's not like freaking you got all day. Like you have to make your move because they're on the attacks too. You know what I mean? Like 10, you could plan a whole strategy, bro. No time limit, no nothing, bro. You could save that for a week. It's still gonna be a turn. Like that's how crazy it was. But let me stop, bro. Let me continue, bro. What this dude said though was crazy. That's hilarious. That man try not to laugh, bro. Woo, man, bro. That PS2 sound, man. Bro, they had the best track. The best tracks.
The story begins with a sunset, a collect.
I'm sorry, but Final Fantasy in general, bro, have to have one of the best tracks in of any game franchise, bro. It goes bananas.
Of weapons and a somber song guiding us right into meeting the characters, each one's face as melancholic as the scenery itself. There is no air of excitement or enjoyment. It's as if we stepped into a new world that has already been ruined. And as we quickly learn, that's exactly the case. The enthusiasm of playing a new game finally suppressed. We meet the main character and the first new major feature to Final Fantasy, voice acting.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Thus we hear the main character's name. Actually, they never say his name.
Yeah.
Even with voice acting, his name is never spoken because this is the only character's name you can change out of everybody. So really, we don't hear his name spoken by anybody else until Dissidia Final Fantasy.
Tidus.
Tidus? It's pronounced Tidus?
Bruh.
Look, I, like every other single English-speaking person out there, has always pronounced it as Tidus. It sounds better, it fits his theme of water. He's standing in water on the cover art. He's always swimming around.
Yes.
The whole Blitzball
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
But nope,
Yes.
Tidus.
Yeah.
Look, I am with you on that it should be pronounced Titus.
Yes.
But I'm gonna do my best to go by the canonical pronunciation.
Yep.
So Titties here is our
Did you just say titties? What? Nah. Hold
the
up.
canonical pronunciation. So Titties here is our main character.
He said titties, bro. Stop it. But now, real talk, bro. I played this game many times because again, they never say the name. So you see the name, you think Titus, right? And like he mentioned, there's a water element, right? With Sin, usually coming from the waters, and find out that's Titus's dad, Jet, who got what you call it? He was reincarnated into Sin, and also the Brotherhood sword that he has, like that's water based. And especially if you look at the box cover art for Final Fantasy X, it's him like coming out the water. You see like dripping, I think it was like water dripping out his face or something. So you would have thought the name and the way how it's spelled, and it sounds better too, you would have thought it was Titus, bro. So it wasn't until I played this game, like I think it must have been it was 5 or 4 years ago. I got the Final Fantasy 10-2 duo game, right? Because when you get 10, it comes with 10-2 and like other bonuses content as well, right? So I played one of the bonus content, right? Like a mini movie type thing. It was like 5 or 10 minutes long or something, right? The person is talking, and it was a female. She said, and it was like a picture of Titus, right? And then she said, "Hey, isn't it that dude Titus?" I was like, Titus, get out of here! What, bro? I was mind boggled, bro. I went to work. I went to work the next day. I said, "Yo, you know Titus's name is really pronounced Titus?" They looked at me like I was crazy. Oh, but and them guy played this game before I did, so that was just a major shock. It was funny to see.
Character and provides a significant amount of narration and internal monologues throughout a majority of the story.
Yeah.
After his brief introduction, this muted scene is followed up in the only way it possibly could.
Yeah, in order to play
Early
Blitzball 2,
2000s
there's
butt
that.
rock.
And this is what I'm talking about, bro. When they be showing off like the graphic in them cutscenes, bro. Because when you play it, right, it look regular PS2 style, right? You could see the blockage in the arm or whatever, right? But it was nothing crazy like the PlayStation 1 version, right? Freaking it's PS2. Freaking not high def. And then when they transition into this scene right here, bro, you know they were cooking up a storm, bro, trying to show everybody in the gaming community what's up. Cause it went crazy, bro. Like this is basically freaking this is basically PlayStation 5 graphics on God. Man. You can't beat that.
Somebody get my Deco jeans! A massive whale monster and its spawn decimates the city of Xanarkand, and we awaken in the world of Spira, setting forth the journey as we meet Riku, Waka, Lulu, Kimari, Oron, and Yuna. Each one of
Bro, you know the amount of stress Tidus must have gone through, bro, throughout that whole, if not the whole journey, then the beginning of the journey, right? You're just chilling in like, you're just living your life in Anakin. You're 17-year-old. You're 17 years old, and you're this superstar athlete, bro, known in the region, right? And you're playing the game. After you know, everything go back crazy. You're like, yo, what the hell's going on? You got these monsters coming out, this and that. I'm like, yo, and then you see your guy Oren, how do you say his name, Oren, who was cool with your dad. It's like, yo, come with me, da, right? And then he gives him a sword. He gives Tidus the sword, and then they fight together. And it looked like initially Oren betrayed Tidus. Like, this guy was hanging out a cliff, and then Oren just dropped him. I think he stepped on his foot, right? I think he stepped not his foot, his hand. I think he stepped on his hand when Tidus was trying to hang for dear life, and he fell down. And then, like, as you see, he ended up at that ruin over there. Eventually met Riku, all that. But bro, me and anybody else for that matter, bro, it would have been crazy, bro. I would have been crying for my mom. I lost everything. It's crazy. And then also for you to find out that the place and you is not real. Nah, bro. What kind of storytelling was that, bro? That was the major shock of that whole freaking game, bro. It was crazy.
One of them is useful, likable, and tied to the story, except for Kimari. Final Fantasy X is the first time the
Kimari
series
hate,
takes
bro.
a massive departure from what it's been known for.
Let me play it again because let me play this again because I was talking between. Here it is.
We awaken in the world of Spira, setting forth the journey as we meet Riku, Waka, Lulu, Kimari, Oron, and Yuna. Each one of them is useful, likable, and tied to the story, except for Kimari. Final Fantasy X is the first time the series takes a massive departure from what it's been known for, in more ways than one. After 6 games of the active time battle system, 10 goes back to completely turn-based, but still innovative and engaging in a new way. Every character can take as much time as they need selecting their actions, and it immediately plays out. However, depending on what you choose affects when they can act again. For example, attacks are standard speed, defending makes their turn come back up faster, but more powerful spells like Firaga or Ultima can make a character need more time before they can act again. This is all shown in a timeline on the screen. You know exactly when a character will have another turn or how the currently selected command will affect this timeline before you confirm it. Just as vital, you can see what enemy turn is coming up next.
If I'm not mistaken, sometimes that changes. Like, you go a turn, after you know the enemy is taking 3, 4, 5 turns just for the sake to kill you. You're like, bro, it's my turn. What is he doing? I hated that, bro. Hated it. Like, why?
This allows you to strategize
define logic
these turns.
based on that thing right there on the right side.
But your party member could really use a heal before the next enemy turn, so on and so on. On top of this are actions that can manipulate other people's turns. Things like slow and haste can drastically alter the turn order. Or skills such as delay hit or quick hit may change things up also. There's a dance between maximizing action economy and not getting too punished. It works wonderfully, and this whole turn order thing is so good. So good, it was straight up copied by Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Further supplementing the amount of strategy and combat is that every character has a sort of specialty that makes them ideal for countering certain enemies. Flying enemies can't be hit by melee characters easily, but Waka can hit anything at range. Tidus can chop through fast enemies, Lulu's black magic takes down any elemental enemy, Oron's sword can pierce through high defense, Yuna for healing and summoning, Riku's steel insta-kills robots. Every single character can do something in battle that's useful, except for Kimari. On any character's turn, you can swap out for another party member
I will say something.
In battle. So if you happen to come up against an enemy that your current party of 3 can't handle, it's an easy fix with the push of a button. On top of this is some battles having additional contextual commands or targets, and in some boss fights, the option for characters to shout extra dialogue for a stat bonus. All of this culminates in an excellent strategic battle system that rewards critical thinking, planning, and execution. Best of all, it's snappy. Every single command completes itself in an instant. Attacks are fast, switches are fast, animations are fast, spellcasting, not as fast, but still good. This is the
Bro. I run one time, right? I never played 7, I never played 9. I remember I was on I think I was talking to a co-worker, right, at work before, right? And I don't remember if we were talking about it or I just bought it on Steam. But I ended up getting Final Fantasy 8, right? Remaster on Steam. And I bought it, I played it. I didn't play for that long. I played for maybe like an hour. Like 30 minutes to an hour, but I stopped. Because to what I'm accustomed to, bro, even by PS2 standard, because Final Fantasy 8 is a PlayStation 1 game. The gameplay was too slow for my liking, bro. It was crazy. I couldn't deal with it. Now, with PC, at least, I think you could change it. You could when you press the escape button, I believe, you could change the game speed to make it move faster. But at that point, I just didn't care no more, bro. It was too slow, bro. Oh my god. And then I'm trying to get to the places, and here come these freaking enemies. You're like, oh my gosh. It was annoying. So that was also a major upgrade, especially when you move from one generation to the next, from PS1 to PS2. Everything is much faster. It was crazy. Like he stated, when like Lulu, somebody does a spell, it's gonna take a bit more time, but it's going at a reasonable place. The other one was slow mo. I think I heard the same complaint from some YouTuber I watch. He was playing so this was when Final Fantasy 7 remake came out or was coming out. So he played Final Fantasy 7, the original game, right? And he never played 7 before, so he's playing it, and I guess he said the same something similar to what I said, like how it's just like it's too slow for his liking. But it was crazy, bro. But like I said, I just stopped, bro. I thought that always been in the back of my mind, like should I go back and play it? But I don't know, bro. I told him too. I said, bro, I tried. Oh my gosh, it's slow.
quickest battle system of any Final Fantasy game. It's fast, but still good. This is the quickest battle system of any Final Fantasy game, period. The fact that it isn't sluggish in the slightest has helped it avoid feeling archaic or dull. So what downsides are there to all this? Well, because the character's specialty is resulting in a sort of rock, paper, scissors system, most enemies whose weaknesses get exploited usually get one shot. This makes a lot of battles completely inconsequential. There's no threat here, the random battles can be frequent, and it can feel like you're seeing the same enemy party makeup over and over over again.
Definitely.
Plus, Final Fantasy X does that thing where only the characters who are in battle get experience points. So then the
Bro, that skill point, bro. Now, each game is different with the experience points and stuff. Final Fantasy, bro, because obviously when you first get introduced to it, you're gonna be somewhat lost. But when you know that this is the best experience, or if not the easiest experience point of the franchise, it has to be, bro. Because you don't even gotta like he mentioned, anybody that's in battle, they gain experience points. It's not even by a wide margin either, if not different at all. I'm sure it's like practically, if not the same. Freaking like you could have everybody in battle. Doesn't matter how big or small they join the fight. They're all gonna gain the experience point, bro. Unless you're facing a big boss, the experience point is going to differ. But like these random fiends, bro, it was quick money, bro. You will gain a significant amount of experience points and abilities, all that. Like I'm sure he's gonna introduce the sphere grid, but that sphere grid, bro, once you know, is a piece of cake.
Usually quick battles can become cumbersome as you meticulously swap out each possible character and make them defend or something, just so that they don't get left out.
Yes.
Which you'll generally want to do. Because you
Yes.
want to make sure everybody is getting as much delicious ability points as they can thanks to the new leveling system.
Facts.
One are experience
It's
points
easy,
and the
bro.
concept of leveling up. The sphere grid instead places every character around a large map, and earning sphere levels means being able to move the characters that many spaces around the board. Any space that they are on or next to can be activated using special sphere items, unlocking that bonus for that character. This could be a stat increase like additional hit points, strength, or accuracy, or it could be all new skills or unlocked magic spells. The sphere grid causes fascinating decision making when it comes to forming your characters, because there are branching paths and optional nodes. You can speed through and go straight for that next spell or skill upgrade, but then you leave behind a branching path with several relevant stat increases. You could go back for them, sure, but then you're spending precious sphere levels just to backtrack. This is further accentuated by locked off paths and nodes. You can only access these by acquiring and expending key spheres to unlock them, which again causes more decisions to be made. Hold off a second for a level 2 key sphere, or get upgrades now and spend the extra effort to go back for it. And if that wasn't enough, by the end of the game you have even more spheres showing up to mix things up. You can do things like instantly unlock abilities for someone that someone else already has. Cause one character to
Hold on, let me rewind real
in a
quick.
level 2 key sphere.
All right. Now look at this situation right here, right? Freaking So you see, you know, you have the chance to learn quick pockets, right? Kind of, not really, because look, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 level 4 nodes. So I think he mentioned that you could sit there and wait for you to get to level 4. But to be honest, bro, in any situation that you see is blocked off, whether it's level 1 or level 4, you're better off just going, right? And just continue to increase your stats. Because you're talking about health, mana, evasion, strengths, thing with like defense, magic defense. You're doing all right. Those and ability and special ability points like that move quick pockets right now. Like you have a chance to upgrade all that. If you're gonna sit there and just wait, you're not gonna progress it, bro. You just like you're not gonna get 5 level 4s, bro. You probably have to do like a special side quest of sort to get them level 4s. I don't know how you can get them level 4s, but apparently you could get them somehow. I don't know how, but yeah, freaking, you're better off just going. Waiting is not the best move, bro.
Or get upgrades now and spend the extra effort to go back for it. And if that wasn't
Like, I'd rather go back, bro. After that.
enough, by the end of the game you have even more spheres showing up to mix things up. You can do things like instantly unlock abilities for someone that someone else already has. Cause one character to warp to another one's current position, or have one character unlock and start going through someone else's sphere grid.
Yeah.
You could make Oron go down the unit path and get healing spells. Make Waka get more strength from Oron, so on and so on. There are tons of possibilities, and it's fun to explore every single character's options in their sphere grids. Except for Kimari. Alright, look, I know I've been shitting on him this whole time, but there's a reason for it. Kimari doesn't have a home anywhere in the game. His sphere grid places him directly in the middle, with no clear path or archetype he's meant to fill. All he can do is follow someone else's sphere grid and essentially make himself into a backup of whatever other party member. The thing is, though, you never need a backup or second member of that role because they can already handle it and do it much better than he can. And unlike everyone else, Kimari has no defined role in battle because all he can do is be a suckier backup version. He has...
You see, okay, this is why I'm gonna draw the line, bro. Right now, like he mentioned, with the sphere grid, each person in the party have their own individual path to level up in, right, in the sphere grid. And then there's a certain limit of your path for you to reach. When you upgrade all the stuff that is required in your own path in the sphere grid, then you're able to move on to somebody else's path and learn their abilities and moves and strengths and stuff like that. Freaking so with Kamari case, like he said, Kamari's pass is so limited, right? It's like it's I'm not gonna say it's like nothing, but it's like whatever, right? It's so limited. You're done with Kamari's pass before anybody else. That's the bottom line. So now, like you said, you quickly move on to somebody else's, and because of that, that consider him weak. He's like a suckier version of the other person, and that's what I'm just like, nah. You see, time out, bro. Because if you, cause like it's not his pass, his small pass is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. He got some stuff that I can't remember from the top of my head, but he got some stuff out of it, right? Like in my case, when I'm done with Kamari's, I move on to Oren, because Oren has the probably the best pass to you when you're talking about power, and then you see over time, Kamari is the second strongest hitter than anybody else on the team. Definitely stronger than Walker, way stronger than Titus. Again, and with Titus' case, it's more speed than power. But in that sense, ain't no way you can really shit on Kamari. That's nonsense. I don't know how he played it, but clearly he didn't go to Orange pass, bro. Because at that point, Kamari had to been the strongest dude at the team, bro. Real talk. Yeah, he's a copycat type of dude, and it's obviously based on his fighting style, because in his original pass, he has a maneuver called Lancet, right? With Lancet, he absorbed just a small portion of somebody's HP, right? But also, with certain fiends, he could he could learn their special move and make it into his own. When you reach the overdrive, which is like the ultimate finisher, whatever, however you want to say it. So yeah, Kamari just a copycat. That's the moveset, bro. You can't just shit on it. If you call him a sucky version of that person, that's trash. Because if I'm a sucky version of Oron, but I'm stronger than Walker and Titus, what are you talking about, bro? He's a heavy hitter, bro.
No unique.
Don't hate, appreciate.
Trait in battle because all he can do is be a suckier backup version. He has no unique trait to quickly defeat enemies, and his blue magic, as usual, is underwhelming. Add to that, Kimari has no impact or meaning in the story, so he's just kind of there. Kimari isn't just small Ranso, Kimari insignificant Ranso. At least he kind of works in the sphere grid. I pretty much used him as a proxy to get spells for everybody else and didn't bother using or leveling him up at all. Which is another positive aspect of the sphere grid, is that even Kimari has a purpose, to help make everyone else better. That's how good the sphere grid is. Even Kimari can do something to provide a much needed break.
And also, bro, at the end of the day too, Kimari is now Yuna has a lot of guardian, right? That whole part, that's a guardian, but Kimari been with her since since day one. So yeah, he's just there because his whole purpose is to protect Yuna.
Break from constant battling, a healthy amount of puzzles show themselves at a handful of temples throughout the story. They occur naturally, since they're landmarks of the journey, and each have what is essentially a switch puzzle. Move orbs around to reveal a door.
Bro, I'm not a fan of this puzzle thing, bro. I'm not, because my whole thing is I just want to play the game. Why do I want to take a break to solve this puzzle to progress through the story? Because this whole thing was this, he's gonna explain it, right? Yuna learning a new Aeon. For every time she learns a new Aeon, a new summoning, because she's a summoner, right? That's what makes her important from everybody else. In that regard, is freaking up, because like her main objective is to defeat sin, just like every summoner, right? To be the summoner, to be sin, meaning you gotta sacrifice your life. So when she learned a new move, you as Titus gotta go to A, B, C, D, E, F, and G to progress through the story. Like if you like puzzles, that's cool. I just want to play, bro.
Or path to reach the end. You can only hold one orb at a time because Titus has the intelligence of a blitzball player, forcing the puzzle and orb switching to have extra.
Bro, Titus got two hands. You telling me you can only grab a small orb, bro, with one hand, one at a time? You can't grab two. You can only grab one. That's preposterous, bro.
steps to make it slightly more difficult. I remember hating these when I was younger, because they were so confusing and annoying. Turns out, they're really not that bad at all. Very straightforward and quick to finish. They last just
but they're annoying nevertheless, bro.
Long enough to give your mind a different exercise than fighting, but not so long they cause a lot of irritation. There's a hidden treasure in each one, and going for those takes more effort, but getting through them is no issue at all.
That's what I'm talking about. That's hard,
figure
bro.
out anything originally. You know, the case with most games. I'm happy with the temple sections,
Yeah.
since they do break up the pacing enough between travel, towns, and battle without being too numerous. They provide just enough of a breather and reignite my excitement to get back to fighting. Because let's face it, the real draw of the gameplay is the sphere grid and the fantastic turn-based battles. Honestly, this same system could be used in an all-new game today, and it would still be just as good. I'm shocked it hasn't been already. For as early 2000s as Final Fantasy X gets, its battle system and its sphere grid leveling system is as modern as it gets. Equally early 2000s is the presentation of it all. The graphics are the definition of early PS2 title, though its mix of CG backgrounds and rendered scenery allows for some new and inventive camera angles. The camera almost changes too much, honestly. In fact, I'm pretty sure the only reason it has the mini-map up in the corner at all is to help the player keep going in the direction they intended between every single camera switch. Speaking of, I'm going to point something out to you, and once you notice it, you'll never unsee it. During numerous cutscenes, when it changes angles, the previous shot will freeze on its final frame and crossfade into the next shot. This is entirely a stylistic choice, and personally, I can't stand it. It's obnoxious, it takes me out of the moment, and they're used in moments where it doesn't make sense and disrupts the attention of the viewer. Crossfades are used to depict a passage of time, and where they're used in the same scene but just to change angles, it causes a visual distortion of the time and space that the scene itself takes place in. Making them worse is that they're inconsistent. They'll show up when they shouldn't, and then not be used in cutscenes where it would make sense. Sometimes they crossfade for a full second or two. Sometimes it's only for like 10 frames. But also, like, why the freeze frame? I can't stand it. It drives me nuts.
Okay, first of all, that's for him. To him, that's obnoxious. But the tempo is like, hey, man, it could give us a break from the fighting. Number one, like, stop it, bro. Number two, he has a point. That's stupid as hell. That's stupid as hell. Like, it's like you said, like, usually, like, them crossfades, like, to show, like to show through the passage of time. Now, it's the same scene, but different angle, and it just gonna crossfade. Like, come on, bro. They do that a lot. Yeah, I didn't pay no mind to it, but now they bring it up. Yeah, now that's funny that he mentioned it.
It's all I can see, and I keep being taken out of the scene as I internally ask myself, okay, why was that there? Was it trying to tell me? Now, to be fair, it does work in some situations.
Okay.
For example, whenever Tidus is narrating and giving an internal monologue, that crossfade helps brings us into his thoughts and denote that he isn't entirely in the scene around him. He's in his head. I like it when it's used here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, though, it irritates me to no end. If it doesn't bother you, great, I'm envious. To me, all I see is an outdated blemish that wasn't even a good idea to begin with. It's like someone discovered transitions for the first time in Windows Movie Maker and just shotgunned them out wherever they thought it would look the coolest. It's a skill, and it requires a trained...
You want to know? Nah, he's absolutely right. I was watching this YouTuber, right? So he's playing a fighting game. God, what was it? It must have been Naruto. This must have been Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. Boruto. Nah. This was Naruto Boruto Connection. I think that's what it's called. This is the latest Naruto game, right? It's a fighting game. It was either that or Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero, but I think it was the Naruto Boruto Connection. So he's a busy dude, right? So he'll have some. So sometimes he'll have somebody edit for him, right? So he mentioned at the start of the video, that he has there's this new guy who was editing his video. Tell me what you guys think, right? And I think he stated his opinion prior to the video started, but he wanted to hear what us fans thinks. I think he stated his opinion. I don't remember, but this guy, he was the dude that was editing the video. He was doing way too much with he he was doing way too much screen effect, right? And like in a lot of moves, it was annoying, bro. You don't have to screen effect everything. You don't even have to screen effect freaking 50%, bro. Like it's cool to keep it simple most of the time. You don't have to screen effect every time, or majority of the time. That's just preposterous.
Eye for this kind of coolest. It's a skill, and it requires a trained eye for this kind of thing.
Yes.
And now that you know about it, it's all you'll ever see. Despite all that, the cutscenes are pretty good. Again, that early 2000s crustiness is still there, but this presentation elevated Final Fantasy from a generally niche genre and series to the gold standard. Much like how Final Fantasy VII did, 10 further established the quality that people expected when it came to RPGs, or even most PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah.
All the mannerisms and movements are certainly a bit more stiff compared to today's standards, but no more over-the-top or anime-ish than current Final Fantasy games. Hey, whoa!
I want to go home.
The only notable rough spot is the lip syncing, but quite frankly, that was a luxury for any game at that time. Maybe it's just because I grew up with this and am completely used to it, but I am not bothered by these simple lip flaps. I really don't see it as a detriment at all. I gotta ask though, what's with all the butt shots? Way too often the camera's very clearly focusing on someone's ass. I'm trying to pay attention to what they're saying, and suddenly all I can see is ass, 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 and teetus. Ass, ass, teetus, teetus, ass, and teetus. Ass, teetus.
What the hell, bro?
Teetus. Ass, ass, teetus, teetus, ass, and teetus. This is thanks to very.
Nah, real talk though, bro. That's Japan in a nutshell, bro. Freaking like whenever you see anime, bro, they put emphasis on like big ass teddies. I'm like, yo, why are they so big for? Like they overly sexualize freaking female, bro. It's ridiculous.
Very competent voice acting. Not excellent, but you can tell that's all done by experienced actors who do a great job with what they're given. I didn't feel any of the voice delivery itself necessarily impacted any given line in a meaningful way, or enhanced the emotion or subject matter behind it. It's more that the voices existing at all helped make any given scene feel more real. Alright, let's talk about it. The elephant in the room. The most notorious scene in all of Final Fantasy
He's gonna talk about the laughing
most
scene.
common meme, and likely the only thing people think of whenever anyone brings up Final Fantasy X. The laughing scene. You've seen it, I've seen it, everyone has seen
No! This fucking clown, bro, with the crossfade, bro. Stop it. And also, I understood like the meme or whatever, because it, the laughing, it looked phony or whatever, but that was the point of the scene. Like the whole thing was like, it's like you have to, like I've been told before, you gotta fake it till you make it, right? We talking like you have to, like if you fake being happy for a period of time, eventually you will be happy, right? Something like that, Some things maybe sometimes it may feel like it's forced, but quickly over time it's gonna be natural, because that's what it is. There's I think that's practically what this scene was saying.
that people point to say, "Lol, look how cringy voice acting was in 2001."
Yeah.
However, just like everything else you've ever seen on social media, context was left out.
Yes.
Anyway, from here on out in this video, story spoilers. At this point, Yuna tells Tidus about how, as a symbol of hope for the world, she has to keep a smile on her face. She has to stay cheerful, no matter the circumstance, so that everyone looking up to her does not fall into despair. So she does the best thing she can think of to keep theirs and her own spirits up. Quite literally, laugh in the face of danger. She offers this as advice to Tidus, who has been struggling with the thoughts of his abusive father, Jecht, and now knowing that the ferocious creature terrorizing the world, Sin, is now embodied by Jecht. He knows he's going to have to fight and kill his father. So to power through and stay determined, he takes Yuna's advice.
Yeah,
In
real talk. Yeah.
Solidation, Yuna joins in, because part of her summoner's journey to defeat Sin requires Yuna to sacrifice herself. Yuna, to keep her resolve, is laughing in the face of death.
Yeah. Like you have to keep strong. You have to be strong. You have to keep it strong. You have no choice but to push through, bro. That's just life. If you just give up, then you give up. Like you depressed or whatever, and that depression, man, it could meet your downfall. It's crazy. Yeah, nah, it's real life, bro.
So yes, the laughing is forced. It's awkward. It's cringy. Because it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
Contextually, this scene is meaningful, important, and bittersweet. The laughing scene in Final Fantasy X is one of the best, most poignant moments. Look, if you want to make fun of the voice acting anywhere in here, make fun of all the weird parts where they clearly had to speed up the voice file just to fit it in.
I wanted to see Yuna's statue too, but I wanted to see it with Yuna by my side.
What the hell? I guess that would be my one criticism of it all.
Oh my
I love the voice
gosh.
directing is weird, but the voice acting is serviceable. One of the most divergent aspects is the soundtrack. There's still a couple of iconic staples. A Chocobo theme.
Yeah. It was refreshing. It was
The
refreshing.
prelude mixed into the blitzball music. And the victory fanfare at the end of each battle. Sadly, for the first
guy hasn't
time
missed.
since Final Fantasy II,
For the most
Final
part.
Fantasy theme is nowhere to be heard, not even during the end credits. That's the only omission that saddens me. That said, overall, the score is great in its own unique way. There's an entirely different vibe that this music has. It's less orchestral epic of seriousness and more tropical atmosphere. Most songs and themes are very chill. Some of my personal favorites are Ryuku's theme,
Alright. I guess.
the optimistic mood of Besaid Island,
Yes. Bro, that's a banger. That is a banger, bro. Oh my god, bro.
and the rather silly for no reason
Maybe-
sounding Mihe.
And it's probably because how early it is into that game, bro, when you meet Waka. And Waka is just like a down-to-earth dude. Like, you don't know the brother, bro. And he's just so nice, bro.
and Highway. Also, can I just say, I like the battle theme. It's catchy, memorable, and never get sick of it, but goddamn, it goes too hard at the start. It's an auditory whiplash when the rest of the soundtrack is so subdued. Again, it isn't bad, just so abrupt and loud, especially when paired with the glass-shattering transition. I'd just be moving along, chilling to the music, maybe enjoying the sunshine, and
Bro.
God, just give me a second.
Yeah.
Equally worth noting
It will hit you, man. It will hit you.
is the beautiful and pivotal piece that is the emotional cornerstone of the whole game, Suteki Dine. There's a reason it's used as the basis for Yuna's theme as well, and its melancholic melody is a perfect representation for Yuna and her emotional struggles. Something that has helped Final Fantasy X stay relevant for so long and endure for so long is how simple its story is. And
I don't remember Yuna's theme, but it does sound nice. Because I haven't played the PS2 version in years. The remake, I don't think I put the original track. Cause they give you an option. They give you like an original, or they give you like I forgot what word they use, but it's I guess quote unquote update version, whatever. And I think I click on update. I think I do, cause I don't remember that Yuna's track, bro.
I mean that in a good way. It is how simple its story is. And I mean that in a good way. It's a generally pretty basic story, and it's very easy to follow. It starts out simple. It's about
Can he stop with the crossfade? Oh, this guy's the clown.
Yuna's summoner journey with her guardians and newcomer Tidus protecting her to defeat Sin, the destructive evil, and keep the world safe for the next 10 years, until Sin's return. It's easy to follow along with the first half of the plot, going from temple to temple as you acquire more summons to use against Sin.
Yeah.
All the while, everything you encounter is establishing excellent world building. There's talks about Spira, how the people suffer and resort to faith to get through their days, the devastation they've suffered, and how they goddamned love Blitzball.
Yeah.
Which, one of the things I greatly appreciate about the way the story is told is that there are no sudden surprise big twists at the very last second. In fact, it's the opposite. You're told all of the twists long before they happen. You find out that Jecht is Sin only a few hours in.
Yeah,
the clergy
yeah.
being controlling and evil is made apparent quickly, as is the obvious fact that Seymour is evil. You learn that Oron is an unsent spirit long before the final sending ceremony.
That was crazy.
Even the final boss is established clearly before he even shows up, avoiding that trap of the super secret evil bad guy behind all the other bad guys. What also helps make this all easy to follow are how simplistic the characters are. There really isn't a lot of depth or complexity to any of them, but they're also not one-note or over-exaggerated caricatures. None of them go through any kind of meaningful growth outside of Waka. The story here is more about what happens to the characters and what happens next, rather than examining how it affects them and how they change. This isn't typically my preference when it comes to a story. I like dissecting the characters and looking at the why instead of the what. But they all do what they're meant to, fulfill a role. I love how Lulu acts as a protective big sister to Yuna without being doting.
I hope you hurt them.
Oron's experience as a guardian allows him to be a proper mentor for Tidus, and provide guidance to Yuna when needed as well. Waka and Riku provide foils for the merits of unyielding faith, the usefulness of Machina, and outright racism. They each have likable traits, and it's easy to see why so many of them became favorites of so many people over the years. Again, they aren't incredibly complex, and pretty much everybody acts as a support for Tidus and Yuna, but they're good. The cast reminds me of early Final Fantasy games, like 1 through 5. Simple, effective, and memorable in their own right. One of the most fascinating storytelling tools Final Fantasy X uses is that Tidus and the player don't know that Yuna's journey will end in her sacrifice until several hours in, leaving the player in the dark. Then, after coming up with a way to defeat Sin without Yuna's sacrifice, the Faith reveal that doing so will free the Faith of their Sword of Imprisonment and free all of the summons. But then they reveal that Tidus himself was created by them to stop the cycle. Defeating Sin and Yu Yevon will also mean the disappearance, or death, of Tidus. This causes a role reversal of Yuna and Tidus and the player. Now,
and then X2, it kind of on that notion. So it's like, because 10 was so popular, bro. It seemed like them guys at the studio had no choice but to make a sequel that didn't need to be created. Because, and we learned today, not everything needs a sequel, bro. Just leave it at that. It was a beautiful story, bro, from start to finish. You didn't have to prolong it, bro, of how the world looks without Sin. It's a peaceful day, and then you got Yuna, Riku, and some chick that came out the bloom and just like doing these missions for, I forgot what was it, for the Crusaders? I don't remember what it was. I never played it. I just seen some stories about it, but that game didn't need to be created, bro. They only did that because of popularity. That's how on fire 10 was.
Yuna doesn't know that success means the end of Tidus.
Because if you like, I think they have multiple endings, and when you do, and if you do all of them or something, you get like I think it's called, I don't remember if it's called the true ending or whatever they call it, but it's an ending where you bring Tidus back from wherever he came from after 10. It's like, what? The guy disappeared. You telling me from this, what's that thing called? The sphere where it shows like where they record where they record people talking, whatever. You telling me that Yuna seen that and then Tidus is somewhere locked up? That's preposterous.
While Tidus and the player do. That success means reversal of Yuna and Tidus and the player. Now Yuna doesn't know that success means the end of Tidus, while Tidus and the player do. It's incredibly well done, and I love that kind of narrative flip. By the way, I know the Faith state that Tidus was made by them and that he's a dream, but he isn't a literal dream. He's conjured up in the same way that every other Aeon is, just like Jecht, and Xanarkin is basically the world they stay in when they aren't being used. Tidus isn't a dream, he's a summon. Just to clarify that so nobody rages at the "it was all a dream" trope.
You see, I'm glad you said that because I was confused, bro. I thought he was just like some imaginary ass person and stuff. But oh yeah, he's a dream, aka summon. That's crazy, bro.
Relationship between Tidus and Yuna is what makes the story so fascinating to begin with. Tidus narrates almost the entirety of the plot, has numerous internal monologues, and we see the world of Spira from his point of view.
Sometimes Yuna would just stare off into the distance. I finally understood why.
However, there is one simple fact to keep in mind. Tidus is not the protagonist. Yuna is.
What?
The entire journey is Yuna's, and Tidus is a supporting character who joins partway through. It's about her going through the summoner rituals, obtaining her abilities, and traveling across the world for her to achieve the ultimate goal, sacrificing herself to defeat sin.
That's pretty crazy.
Going from temple to temple is solely for her benefit, and the side characters are all left outside while she completes the ritual, including Tidus. Every NPC that shows up only directly addresses Yuna, showing direct conflict with her, and every antagonist is against her. Tidus is just there for the ride.
He really is just there for the ride.
He's the side love interest, witnessing it all with no direct input or driving force to the outcome of events.
Because the thing is, right, the protagonist, like, us players is just as lost as Tidus is, bro. We're experiencing all of this for the first time. Like, Spira is brand new, right? Now, from the beginning, obviously, it's like, alright, what's up with this Anakin, blah, blah, right? That's team this whole town. And then, when all that stuff went down, it is a whole new world for both us and Tidus, bro. It's crazy work. Yeah.
Ultimately, it doesn't change a whole lot of the interpretation of the plot, but much like the information role reversal mentioned earlier, this role reversal of making the player as a side character offers an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Especially in being the love interest rather than pursuing one.
Yeah.
While
you're
Final
learning
Fantasy
everything, bro.
is a love story, it's less about them realizing their feelings for one another. The undertone throughout is that they know they like each other, but fully understand that they can never be together. At first, it's because Yuna knows completing her journey will mean the end of her life and leaving Tidus. Then, as they discover another way instead, it means that Tidus' life will end and Yuna left unaware. At one point or another, they both acknowledge that it won't end well. This is what makes the scene at Macalania Lake so bittersweet. The two of them, feeling the hopelessness of the situation, indulge in a fantasy of going off together to visit Xanarkand.
We'll have a big party at my place.
And then we could see Blitzball.
That's right.
Your Xanarkand Abes would play?
Yeah.
We could all watch you play, in a stadium all lit up at night. I'd cheer and cheer till I couldn't cheer anymore.
Yeah, right on.
They know it can never, ever happen, which...
Damn, bro. That's why I was reacting like that, bro. I felt it in my chest, bro. Damn. That's crazy work, bro. That was crazy work. That's an A+, bro. That's an A+.
Causes Yuna to break down. Distraught and overcome with emotion, they take comfort in each other, for however fleeting it may be.
Damn.
After several games in a row that has a love story be some or even a primary component to the plot, Final Fantasy X's not having the happiest ending is a welcome change of pace.
Bro.
What this love story did, along with the voice
I got
acting,
chills,
the music,
bro.
the
I got
character
chills.
design, is achieved something that Final Fantasy games had struggled with. It reached a vast female demographic. It may sound silly or even unnecessary to bring up now, but 2 decades ago, this was a big deal and a huge step forward. It was prominent enough that when Square made their first ever direct sequel game, Final Fantasy X-2, they chose to focus on an all-female cast and further expand upon the story.
Yeah,
By the way, this
that
game
is...
is tight. Give it another play. It's super fun. There are some weak...
It looks super fun, but I mean, they didn't have to do that. They could have done the same thing, just not a sequel to 10, bro.
Elements to the story, so it isn't infallible. Seymour's grand... It's super fun. There are some weak elements to the story, so it isn't infallible. Seymour's grand scheme is to be the new head maester, so he wants every single person of the world to love him. This way he can control them and make them do what he says. Which is why he tries to marry Yuna, because everyone already likes her, so thus he'd be liked by association.
That's diabolical, bro.
In the middle of the wedding ceremony, Yuna literally pulls her sending staff out
Yep.
of her ass, and then you kill him again.
Yeah! Bro! They just be spawning their weapons, bro. Like, you look at Tidus, you look at Walker, you look at Owen, bro. They got no space to put their weapon in, and then when it's go time, they're like, "What's up?" This one was different because it was a cutscene. It wasn't even a battle. She just said, "Whoop! I got this." Oh my god.
So he keeps coming back again and again because now his ultimate plan is to make himself into sin so that he can kill everybody in the world.
Yeah, he was
Because,
annoying,
as he puts
bro.
it, the only way to end everybody's suffering is to kill everybody so
Yeah.
that nobody ever feels anything ever again.
That was his thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's one of those villains. While not necessarily a weak point, it is worth noting that the game as a whole doesn't get incredibly engaging until after the second half. The hours spent going from temple to temple is fine enough, as it does a great job with all the world building and establishing most aspects of everything around you. The sphere grid is even just okay enough. It just kind of suffices until you start hitting the major plot reveals and the real villains begin to show themselves. It takes a bit for the real investment to begin. The sphere grid is the same way. At the start, it's pretty straightforward and not a whole lot going for it, but towards the end, you have many more paths open, interesting decisions, and more key unlocks allowing customization. The whole game doesn't start out weak, it's that it starts out pretty okay and then ends strong. A testament to how strong the gameplay is that once you realize you're near the end, you want to keep playing. You want more sphere grid stuff, more rare item findings, or even more mini games. More than any other Final Fantasy.
This guy was a crossfade, bro. But I didn't beat the game, but when a game is good like that, you do want to keep going, right? Cause me, I beat Black Mist Wukong. The game was cool. I liked it, but when it was over, I was glad it was over. I didn't want to keep going, bro. I was glad it was over when I finished it, because the complexity of certain bosses was just nuts. I was like, damn. And when I got to the end, before the final boss or final bosses, I was like, oof, man, this is the climax right here, boy. It's about to be GG's. A game like 10, bro, you're like, man, I can believe I'm done with this. That's crazy. Like you said, like you want to keep going, bro. Something that good.
Game 10 makes me want to keep playing at the end. The sphere grid alone is enticing enough to make me want to unlock more, especially finding rare level 4 key spheres or trying wacky builds.
Yeah.
Should you ever need a break?
That's what I'm talking about. The map was like it was low key big, right? When you're looking for them hidden treasure chests, you're like, ah, man, that's why I didn't try. That's why me personally, I didn't try, because I know it's gonna be difficult. I was like, hey, F it.
From all the world.
There's more to it than just going to that straight path to go from plot A to plot B. It's crazy work, for real.
Saving or whatever. You always have plenty of mini games available to you. The main one being the ever prominent Blitzball.
Man.
Blitzball is essentially underwater rugby soccer with RPG stats, leveling up, and mini battles within. You can access it at any save point and play as much or as little as you want. Plus, nearly every NPC
I had fun with this game, man, for real. Man, I was doing season mode, bro. I played like 1 or 2 seasons. A coworker of mine, a guy I used to work with, this man said he played 20 years. I'm like, damn, bro. He loved Blitzball. Me and him agreed on one thing though, man. It could have been his own game. That's how fun it was.
you run into can be recruited onto your team,
Yeah.
letting you explore different team members.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with Blitzball. It sucks. You have little control over the outcomes of everything during a match.
You got a point.
You have 0 player input when you don't have the ball, forcing you to watch team members swim around automatically like idiots, and inevitably screw something up. When
You got a point.
any kind of shot, pass, or tackle maneuver is performed, it all comes down to stats. Is the block stat higher than the shoot stat? Does the tackle stat bring the defense stat down to 0? But even those are randomized, being as ineffective as 50% or overperforming up to 150%
You got another
of the
point.
stat.
It's a fun game, but it does got its flaws, bro. It tortures my soul when you triple team the dude and you look at the stat and you know there is no way in hell you're getting that. And you just delaying the inevitable, bro. And then when he's like on a break and you see the stats, you know it's gonna score. So and there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is just watch. You're like, ah, damn. So yeah, you can't. There's a lot of things you can't control, but it's still fun nevertheless. But yeah, it does got its flaws, bro.
A majority of every outcome is watching the dice roll and hoping for the best.
Yeah, pretty
especially
much,
when
yeah.
you're on defense, hoping, just hoping, that you tackle hard enough or your goalie manages to
Yes.
get their head out of their ass.
Yes.
Look, I even got the jet shot and still couldn't win the first match after a few attempts.
Yeah.
There was a time where I literally never got to press anything on the controller and just watched the whole team lose despite my screaming like that one dad at the youth t-ball game taking it way too seriously. Once you recruit better members, level up player stats, and acquire new special abilities though, Blitzball then becomes too easy. Almost immediately.
Yeah,
frankly.
yeah,
All the
true.
challenge-
Yeah, nah, no cap. It does get easy over time because like you could keep the players or they'll leave and you pick up somebody else, right? And then like the leveling up, it could get pretty crazy. Your likelihood of winning just increases like over time. That first game though, like you mentioned, I had the jet shot. It was OP, but there's only so much you can do with Titus, bro. Cause you could score like the first point, or you could tie it up 1-1. But your teammate is so ass, bro. It's like they're trying to set you up to lose, right? It's crazy. The game is winnable. I wonder, like again, I played this game many times. I won that first game multiple times. Recently, the last time I played it, I lost. Cause it was just bad luck. Nothing I could do about it. Sphere shot, jet shot, they're both great. Jet shot is OP, but with those teammates, bro, man, like the defense, bro, it's not basketball, it's not soccer, bro. It's crazy work.
Challenge and excitement is gone as victory is all but assured, leaving it an empty experience. Like I said though, you'll want to do these mini games because the rewards and endgame content is so worth it. Every
Yeah.
character has ultimate weapons that they can get, and they are awesome. Probably the best final weapons they've ever done in the entire series because of something they've never done in Final Fantasy before.
Yeah.
The ability to go beyond 9,999 damage.
Yeah, that's crazy
The damage
work.
limit break is the coolest thing. After decades of hitting that ceiling, we can finally go beyond. It absolutely makes every boss battle a joke, but man, now that's a power trip I can get behind. So how do you get these ultimate weapons? Well, for the most part, the mini games. Some are time wasters like Blitzball, others are brief agitation like chocobo racing and getting slapped in the face by birds. Easily the worst one though, dodging lightning strikes.
See?
For Lulu's ultimate weapon,
Trash.
you have to not get hit by lightning. When the screen flashes, you have the smallest of windows to hit the X button to jump backwards. Miss that and bzzzt! Anyone who has ever accomplished this will have immediate war flashbacks when you bring up the Thunder Plains. Because to get the weapon piece, you don't need to just dodge lightning to the end. You don't need just to dodge lightning 50 times. You have to dodge lightning strikes 200
Woo!
times in a row
Woo!
without stopping.
Man.
There's no counter, by the way.
Yo, there's no counter, bro. First of all, I said 100. I was wrong. 200. That's crazy. Second, I thought the name Thunder Plane, but I wasn't entirely sure. Right? Third of all, 200. Bro, like, you have to keep this in your head. If you forgot, you forgot, bro. Yeah, now you just tap and you're like, damn. You know, and you don't got time to write this down, whether on your notepad or even electronically on your phone. Because you don't know when that's hidden. So you just like bro, you have to be locked in, bro. From like waiting to parry and to memorize how much you have. Like you know. And if you do, I mean, if you forget, then you can estimate. But if you forget, like for real, you're like, damn, how much do I have? And then it feels like it's gonna be an eternity, bro, until you reach that 200. If you do dodge all of them, bro, it's crazy work.
You need to keep track of it yourself manually. And if you check it too early or God forbid miscount, whoopsie doodle, start over again. But the payoff though,
Yeah.
you'll want it so badly.
Yeah.
The mini games give enough incentive to at least attempt them. There's also finding secret coordinates on the world map or hidden dungeon.
When you get the airship, bro, it shows you it stopped being somewhat linear. It turned into a somewhat open world, which was cool because you can go back to place that you were. Like, for example, this, like, you're Titus, right? In the beginning of the game, you first go to Spira. You're on your own. You're underwater. You fight these fish monster things, right? And then here come the big guy. At that point, he's literally unbeatable. There's nothing you can do because you're too weak. So this is just for the sake of plot, because you fight him for like however long, and then he chases after you, and then you go to a hole or whatever it was, and then you're safe, and then the story progresses through there. Like the fact you got an option to go back to that spot and fight that creature, bro, that you couldn't fight in the beginning because you were too weak. That's pretty cool, bro. I don't remember how easy the fight was, but I would think it'd be like somewhat easy. But yeah, that yeah. And with this, like with the game, like it just show how complex the game is when you try to do like a lot of it. Like not 100%. Even if you do 100% this game, it's gonna be crazy work, bro. There's a lot of things in this game. It's crazy. And you will not have thought in the beginning because everything was so linear. You're like, oh snap.
Treasure chests and extra bosses.
Yeah, see that's the month I'm talking about.
Aeons for a unit to summon. Some of these providing additional bits of lore and story. The end game of Final Fantasy X is so strong, and a major part of that is thanks to all of these extra goals to accomplish. A general summary of Final Fantasy X is that that's good, but then it gets really good in the second half. One of the most frequent questions that I've always gotten is somebody asking if they wanted to get started on the Final Fantasy series, where should they begin? And my answer has always been the same. If you want a retro, classic feeling one, go with any version of Final Fantasy.
It doesn't matter where you start
off,
bro.
If you want a more
it don't.
modern feeling game with voice acting and cutscenes and all that, you should absolutely play Final Fantasy X.
He absolutely got a point.
I
forgot too. Yeah, that was the first game that also did voice tag. Bro, it was the first again, PS2, the first like 3D game, right? Like for real. And then also with the first voice acting game of the series. As like he said, that's the first modern game, bro. Like, you know, he has an excellent point, bro. Like if you want to try the whole piece of the cake, you better all start from Final Fantasy 1. If you want to start off from the modern gaming, you start off in 10. But really, it doesn't matter where you start off. To be honest, it's not a game that's like it's not a continuation from one game to the next. It's just not. They use the same elements, like the same they have like the same themes. They have the same, like the Aeon, for instance, like Ifrit, right? He's in multiple games. Ifrit is. I remember him in 8. You see him in 10. I know he's in 16. He's in 14. Right? There's a lot of creatures that's in multiple games.
Up to this day, it has one of the best battle systems yet. A great take on leveling up, perfect difficulty curve, and plenty of player engagement.
Yeah.
The story is good. The easy-to-follow nature of the start of it eases any player into a much grander narrative by the end.
Yeah.
The characters are generally likable, easy to understand, and easy to sympathize with. Some of the voice acting does have its awkward deliveries, but it's generally done well enough that it enhances every cutscene. It's easy to recommend thanks to its wide availability. The HD version is on pretty much every major platform you can think of. It's also one of the few that I recommend anyone who has played once before to go back and play again. So many of the scenes and dialogue hit differently the second time through once you understand and realize the undertones. Plus, with the HD version, a new advanced sphere grid provides a fresh enough experience that it's worth going through again.
Facts.
Final Fantasy X has impressed me with how well it's held up. I now have a deeper appreciation for what it accomplished and what it was trying to go for than I ever did before. And I already liked it well enough. If you're considering it, giving another go, or trying it out for the first time, I can assure you, it's worth it. You can enjoy the battles, you can enjoy the story, you can enjoy the emotions, you can enjoy the characters, and of course, you can enjoy all the eye candy. Ass, 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 ass.
Yeah, I watched this video before. I didn't remember everything he said, but it was still entertaining nevertheless. Though it was cool. Shout out to Projared. Subscribe to him. It's a cool dude. What's his latest video like? Let me see. He made a video about the Nintendo Switch 2 90s game that failed to become a franchise. That looked interesting for guys that have grown up in that era, etc. He's a gamer. He's definitely a gamer. Like I said, I wasn't gonna play Final Fantasy X for like God knows how many times I've played it. So I'm like, let me go watch a review on it. I know it's gonna be fun. It's an entertaining game. So it's bound to have entertainment review. reviews, and that's what we seen. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace. I'm out.